Can you get them all?
Gotta go like this.
Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Captain Dan. This is
Elizabeth.
And we are the
Florida Fishing Couple.
Just in case you didn't know that yet. And so the reason why we're coming to you today is because it is almost lobster mini season.
Yes, our favorite time of year.
Our favorite time of year. We were coming down here for quite a few years. Every year we drag the boat down across the state of Florida and go all the way down to Key West before we decided to make it permanent and move here.
Yeah.
So we know that there are a plethora of you all right now probably getting ready, packing your bags. Some of you are already on the road. Hell, some of you are already here.
Yep.
We met a bunch of people at the Chill last night here in Key Largo, and people are already coming down for the mini season. But there's a bunch of rules and regulations, and we thought we'd maybe kind of discuss a little bit about the whole season.
Yeah.
So this way nobody doesn't have fun and people don't get in trouble, and you kind of get an idea of the rules of the road, if you will, down here.
We've had lots of you reach out via email or Instagram asking for our best tips because it's right around the corner. So we've kind of compiled our best tips and thoughts on how to make sure you are able to limit out and really just make the most of your trip down here.
It's all about limiting out.
That's
get
right.
As quick as you can and get back to the grill and then have a party for the rest of the day and get out on day 2 of the mini season and do it all again.
That's right. So tip number 1.
Tip number 1. You got to know the regulations down here. The FWC, rightfully so, is pretty hot to trot during this period of time.
That's right.
There's a lot of inexperienced divers or people who dive very rarely going out, and so a lot of people aren't paying attention to the regulations. So there are some regulations that we're going to turn you on to. Become familiar with them. I think one of the biggest ones, of course, is the size of the lobster. How many you can take. In Monroe County, you can only take 6 per day. Measure them. Yes. While they're in the water. That's a big deal. You can't have shorts on board, and if FWC comes up and boards you, you can get in a lot of trouble for that.
Yep.
Let's see what else. Oh, you can't lobster during the 2-day mini season anywheres in Pennicamp State Park.
Yeah, and it's really big, so you need to do your research before you come because the Pennicamp Park takes up a lot of Key Largo, so you really have to know where to go.
So you really got to kind of do a little research before you come down to make sure you're in the right places and that you're not taking lobster out of the lobster exclusion zones, because there's a lot of those out there as well where you cannot go. Make sure everybody's licensed on the boat. That's real important. Make sure you got your lobster stamp because they'll check everybody on board who's eligible to take lobsters to make sure that they're eligible. So that makes sense. So be real careful about where you go and know the rules and know the regulations. That's number 1.
Absolutely. Number 2. Have a plan. Make a plan before you come and know where you're going to go.
Yeah, there's an old saying that says, make a dive plan and then dive your plan. Same thing. If you're going to come down here and lobster and get an idea about where you're going to go and have a plan, like Elizabeth says.
Yeah. So one of the biggest tips we have is recon. If you're down here now, or if you're leading up to mini season, you'll be here a few days before. Lots of people spend the whole week here. So mini season is only Wednesday and Thursday. Right. Spend Monday and Tuesday scouting out some spots. Right? Like you can see where the lobster are before mini season opens, and then go back to your spot. So what's our advice if they don't have time to do that, Ben?
It's all right. So if you can't recon and you don't have time to go out, or you really don't know the area at all, you should pull some maps, but let's say you don't. I would say the best thing to do was what we used to do. How we learned the first couple of years was we got up very early in the morning, which is not my thing, but did it anyway, and got out there and just watched and see where the other boats go. And just, I wouldn't say like anchor on top of them, but within a relative area, safe area. That's what we did until we learned the spots over. It took us a while to learn. Over time, and sometimes those spots change and they move.
If you go where the boats are, you probably aren't going to fail.
I was going to say, you got 2 things happening here. If you're in an area where there's 50 boats over there and you're over here by yourself, there's 1 or 2 things that are happening. You either have a spot that absolutely sucks, or you might have a secret spot that nobody else will know about.
That's right.
So it could be one of the 2. But,
that's right.
But yeah, that's the deal. I've recon, and if you can't, just look for the boats.
And as part of that whole, make a plan, is having the right equipment, right?
No, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So for years we tried the old-fashioned way is tickle sticks with a net. And that works. I mean, you're pretty good. We got them. But we found the best tool down here is a snare.
Yeah.
And we'll show it to you, the snare itself, and how to get one. it's almost like a can't miss.
We have all of our gear listed on our website, which is floridafishingcouple.com. We've got a page dedicated to the gear we use. It's literally the exact gear we have.
Yep.
And you know us, down here where you can't always get everything, Amazon Prime for life, you still got time. I mean, we're a week out. You can get anything delivered in time, probably before you go. So go check out our website.
We're going to talk about safety, which is kind of another big deal down here. If you're the captain of the boat, make sure that all the safety equipment is up to date. They check flares.
Yep.
Check your flares. Make sure that they're still in date, because you'll get a ticket for a flare in a heartbeat. And
you want to have personal flotation devices for everyone on board?
Everyone.
We see tons of boats out there loaded with people, and we always joke to each other like, "Oh, hope they have enough life jackets." But really, in a bad situation, safety is always first.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to be sure that as the captain of the boat, or if you're going on someone's boat, make sure you've got a life jacket, because catastrophe does happen sometimes, and you want to be sure that you are absolutely safe and taken care of. The worst thing possible during mini season is having a tragedy that could have been avoided with just some safety precautions.
And that happens down here. So the other thing too is the weather. The storms here can come on you that quick. You could be anchored, I don't know, off one of the reefs or whatever, and turn around and a storm will just come up out of nowhere. And we've gotten caught a couple of times. But if you see a storm coming, get off the water, especially if you start seeing lightning and stuff, because it can get ugly really, really fast. And like I said, we've gotten caught before. So just be careful of that. You always like to measure the lobsters.
Yes.
So
I always say we have a rule: measure twice, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you're building something, measure twice, cut once. Well, in this case, it's measure twice and keep them in the boat once. You have to measure in the water; it's a requirement. So be sure you've got, back to the equipment, you've got your measurer, and you'll measure in the water. But during mini season, we always keep one person on the boat to serve as like quality control. And you get the lobsters back to the boat; they're still alive. Measure them. And last year, all of them that we brought to the boat were great.
Yep.
I measured twice, threw them in the cooler, and life was great. But in the event that someone measures incorrectly in the water, there's just that extra opportunity to measure and make sure that nobody gets in trouble. And we're not harvesting lobsters that are too small.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't want to do that anyway.
Right.
The other thing is that you said that you stayed on the boat last year, and that was so important, because you remember a couple of times you actually told people that they were getting too close.
Yeah.
So it was important that you were up there. If you don't, always have somebody on the boat, because you're going to have boats all around your divers, and
yeah, last year,
it can get dangerous.
Yeah, one of the divers with us was actually almost hit.
Yeah.
They were out and within the radius that we could be in with a dive flag up, but boaters out there are just in a real hurry to get to their spot, and we're zipping by, and I ran to the front of the boat and flagged them down, and they stopped.
Yeah.
No one got hurt, but you have to be super careful, and if I wasn't on the boat, not sure,
No, yeah, I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
You mentioned dive flag too. That's another one. Make sure you have a regulation size dive flag, because they're going to check that too. If you don't have a dive flag up, you'll probably get a ticket.
Yeah, 100%, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would be willing to bet. If FWC's around and you don't have a dive flag and you've got people in the water, that is ticketable offense.
Yeah, absolutely. So so make sure you have that. Let's see, what about egg-bearing lobsters?
Yes.
We saw a lot of those last year.
A lot of those.
Yeah, please don't take those, of course. You'll know right away.
Yeah, we flip them over. It looks like, it looks fuzzy. It's orange and fuzzy, and those are the eggs.
Right. Sponge. It looks like a sponge.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I think they even call it a sponge. So.
Yeah, don't take those, because those are baby lobsters.
That we need them for next year.
That's right. And if you're busted with a lobster that's got eggs bearing, it's big time trouble. So save yourself the hassle and protect our little baby lobsters.
Yeah.
Don't take them.
Don't take them. All right, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Another great thing about having someone staying on board is then you've got someone who will be able to count the lobsters as you go. You've got to know your boat limit, right? So we mentioned in Monroe County, the limit is 6 lobsters per person.
Per licensed person.
Correct. Yes, per person with a lobster license.
Right.
Yes. So it could be very confusing if you get to a spot that's just loaded with lobsters and everybody's grabbing lobsters, grabbing lobsters, grabbing lobsters. To make sure that the boat is not over the boat limit. So be sure someone's counting and making sure, as the captain of the boat, like that could be big time trouble for you if there's one extra lobster on the boat. So save yourself the trouble, know the number of lobsters you can have, and don't go over that limit.
Yeah, you can have a lot of fun down here, but if you don't obey the rules, it could be a bad time. So,
Yeah.
So just obey the rules and you'll be fine. It's so much fun. I mean, it's a blast.
Yeah.
We have an absolute awesome time. People go, with some of the locals then, they go like, oh, you still do that? You guys go to that mini series? Like, yeah, man, it's crazy. We have a great time watching everybody and catching lobsters and eating them that afternoon. And it's an awesome time.
Absolutely. So speaking of eating them, we have several videos where we show you how to properly clean a lobster so you don't miss any meat.
Yeah.
Lots of people just ring them and go, but when you do it that way, you're really missing the horns, which
We eat
is
the horns, man. The horns are
amazing.
awesome.
And there's a special way to get out all of the tail meat so that you don't miss any, because it's so delicious. Why would you run the risk of missing out?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people eat meat inside, so there's a way to get them out and twist them out, and the whole thing comes out. And then when they're big enough, the little horns that are on the top, man, those are awesome.
It's delicious.
We freeze them and have them all year long. We put them in spaghetti sauce. Anyway, yeah, don't throw out the horns. They're awesome.
Yeah, magnificent.
So, anyway, all right.
So finally,
Hey, you got to have fun out there, and you absolutely will. It's a blast. I mean, people are coming down from everywhere. We meet people from everywhere to come down for lobster mini season. So have fun, obey the rules, and you will have fun, and we'll see you out there, right?
yeah, there's plenty of lobster to be had, so no sense in getting angry at another boater, yelling, screaming, cursing, acting like a no sense in doing that. If you follow our rules, you will have a ton of fun, max out on lobster, and really just enjoy the week. Listen, if we see you, we'll be out and about, and you know what, if we see you, please don't hesitate. Like Captain Dan said, last night we met some great people who are subscribers, and we'd love to meet you. We'd love to hear about, your catch and how you're doing, and so if you see us out, be sure to say hello, because we love that, right?
We do.
We have the best subscribers ever.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so if you're not a subscriber, you got to follow us, like and subscribe, because we really have a great relationship with our subscribers.
Absolutely. So, and you know the deal. What?
Follow us.
Ah.